Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Under the patronage of the President of Kuwait University, I am very pleased to participate in the procedure of InfoSec Summit 25 conference through introducing the following talk: authenticating and verifying a drone charging a transaction, a novel blockchain protocol, which introduced by Dr. Mohamed Torky, Assistant Professor of Computer Science, Higher Institute of Computer Science and Information Systems, Egypt. And also I am working in Arab Academy for Science Technology and the Maritime Transport Smart Village in Egypt. Also, I am a senior member in Scientific Research Group in Egypt. Our agenda consists of 5-point introduction, problem statement, authenticating the drone and the charging station identities, verifying the drone charging using a proposed blockchain protocol, and conclusion. In the introduction, we can say unmanned or aerial vehicle (UAV) or drones is fast becoming an important technology that will play a pivotal role in many military and the non-military field and the industrial application in the new few years. In military usage, drone can be used as a target decoy for military tactics and the surveillance system. It can be utilized in military research and development. Drone also can be used to the execution of critical and time-sensitive mission and reducing military losses. In non-military usage, drone can be used for search and rescue, for surveillance, for traffic monitoring, for weather monitoring, for firefighting, for personal use, for drone-based photography and videography. Some statistics of drone refer to the drone will be a rising technology in the new years. From 2016 to 2020, the demand for military-based drone around the world reached to value more than $70 billion. The commercial UAV market is being forecasted to increase to achieve more than $63.6 billion by the end of 2025. A statistical report referred to in August 2021, there were about 968,000 drones registered in the United States by Federal Aviation Administration, and 16% of registration were for entertainment purposes. The Insider Intelligence website forecasts that sales of drones will reach to $43 billion by the end of 2026. A large amount of that will come from the sale of personal drone used for photography, gaming, filmmaking, recording, and the other entertainment activities. Hobbyists will, however, spend $70 billion on developing various shapes of drones over the next few years. Our problem statement. The biggest challenge is that drones are not sufficiently regulated and authenticated, which raises a significant concern in drone cybersecurity and the Internet of Energy (IoE). One of these authentication challenges is verifying the drone charging transaction with ground charging stations. Malicious operator of energy within IoE network will heavily threaten security and the privacy of both UAV and the charging station through various of malicious attacks such as privacy leakage, falsification, and nude impersonation, and the fake charging transaction. So, how we can secure the charging transaction that can occur between drones and a charging station against a lot of physical security, such as privacy leakage, falsification, nude impersonation, and fake charging. So to solve this problem, we introduced a theoretical proposed approach for authenticating a drone and the charging station identities. So how drone and the ground station are securely connected in a peer-to-peer network? What is the authentication technique used to add and remove drone or a charging station to form the network? Our answer to these questions can be shaped based on the key techniques: Edward Curve digital signature algorithm, ED 25519, and blockchain technology. These two technologies can be used to shape our proposed approach for solving this problem. Edward Curve digital signature algorithm ED25519 is a public key signature system which is based on Edward Curve digital signature algorithm EDDSE. A recent and secure digital signature technique depends on the performance of optimizing elliptic curve. ED2551 use a short private key, 32 or 57 bytes, and short public key, 32 or 57 bytes, and the small signature, 64 or 114 bytes with a high security level at the same time. So why we used this type of elliptic curve, ED25519? This is because there are some of security strengths that make elliptic curve an effective tool for generating the identities of drones and the charging station. The first one is fast single signature verification, very fast of message signing, fast key generation, small signature and small keys, high security level against the side channel attacks and the twist security attacks, hash function collision resilience, foolproof session key. This is all a security strengths that make the elliptic curve, and the ED25519 is an effective tool for generating the identities of charging stations and drone. The two generated ED25519 based keys, private and public key, can be used to authenticate the identity of drone and the charging station in the peer-to-peer network. The first approach or the first technique in our proposed approach is a blockchain technology. Blockchain, as we know, is a growing list of recorded called blocks that are securely linked together using cryptography. Each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, a timestamp, and the transaction data generally represented as a Merkle tree where data nodes are represented by leaves. Blockchains are typically managed by a peer-to-peer network for use as a publicly distributed ledger, where nodes collectively adhere to a protocol to communicate and validate new blocks. Why we use the blockchain in our proposed approach? For some blockchain strengths. The first one is real-time traceability, enhanced decentralized security. Blockchain has a transparency opportunity, tamper-proof, faster and trusted transactions, no third-party involvement, reduced cost. So, in our proposed approach, blockchain can be utilized as a secure, decentralized repository of the generated ED25519 public keys assigned to drones and the charging stations. Moreover, blockchain can manage and verify the charging transaction between drones and the charging stations in a secure manner. In this proposed figure or proposed model, used to model and represent the proposed approach. As we see in this figure, the ED25519 used as a key generators was to generate the public and the private keys of drone and the charging stations. So we have a set of drones and a set of charging stations connected in a peer-to-peer network, and there is a lot and some of the charging transaction that can occur between these drones and the charging station. To validate and to verify or represent the identities of drone and the charging station, the ED25519 can generate the public key and the private keys of drone and the charging station. Then this public key and the private key is represented in the blockchain. When a new transaction is occurred between a specific drone swarm and a specific station in the charging station swarm, so this transaction is validated and verified using a blockchain protocol. If the transaction is valid, so this transaction is stored in a new block and this block is added to the blockchain. So we can use this model for authenticating the drone and the charging station identities. So the second question is how to verify drone charging transaction. This can occur by a proposed blockchain protocol as we see in this figure. So our proposed blockchain protocol consists of 7 steps. In the first steps, a specific drone D requests a charging from station S. Then the station S requests a private key from the drone. So the private key is provided by drone D to the charging station. In step 4, the private key of drone D and the private key of a charging station is passed to the blockchain to the hash function MD5 exactly. So this MD5 used to make the match between private key and the public key of drone and the charging station to guarantee and verify the validity of this charging transaction. If the private key match public key, so a new token or a new security token called the fingerprint is passed to the drone, which used to authenticate this type of transaction or make the uniqueness of this charging transaction. So the drone D pass or provide the fingerprint token to the charging station to allow and to open the charging slot and validate this transaction. So after validating this transaction, the new transaction is added to a new block, and this block is added to a new blockchain. So this is a proposed blockchain protocol we can use to verify drone charging transaction. To evaluate the proposed approach or the proposed blockchain protocol, we have two types of results. The first type is how to measure the performance of blockchain. So we mean by this result how to measure the performance, how to measure the completion time of doing or performing this transaction that can occur between drones and the charging station. The second type of this result is a security result. So we have to conduct an attack model scenario and apply this attack to the proposed authentication model to verify the validity and to verify the security and the robustness of this protocol against this attack. Unfortunately, we couldn't complete the security measure, but we do it recently. So we present for you only the performance measure. We measured the performance of the blockchain protocol using it to measure read throughput and the transaction throughput, and that are common measures in Ethereum blockchain that can be used to verify the performance of any blockchain protocol. Read throughput or RT is a measure of how many read operations are executed in a specific time interval, expressed as a number of read operations per second RPS, and they can be evaluated using this equation. Transaction throughput is the rate at which a valid transaction are executed by the blockchain system in a defined time interval. This is not the rate at a single blockchain node, but across the entire blockchain network. This rate is expressed as a transaction per second at a specific network, and they can be calculated and evaluated using equation 2. So this is our this is our obtained result. We conducted a simulation on a blockchain network consisting of 300 drone and 50 charging station, and they conducted a simulation study. And this is result refer and represent the transaction throughput in second and the read throughput in second. Also, the figure 2 presented the number of transactions we obtained in each block from block 1 to 14 block, and the figure 3 presented the percentage of number of transactions per block that we obtained by conducting the 300 drones with 50 charging stations. So our conclusion in this work, a blockchain protocol is proposed for authenticating and verifying a drone charging transaction with a ground charging station. The proposed protocol is based on ED25519, a highly secure public key signature system, which is based on Edward de Kerr digital signature algorithms for generating ED25519 based key, private key, and the public key that used to authenticate the identities of drone and the charging station point in blockchain-based IoE network. The initial result indicate to the efficiency of the proposed blockchain protocol regarding the performance measure, read throughput, and transaction throughput. In the future work, a set of cyber physical attack model have to be modified, and the sum of security measure have to be applied to evaluate the robustness and security of the proposed blockchain protocol, and this is what we currently do. Also, this is the reference we used in our study, At the end, I would like to thank you so much, and any question or comments I can receive in my email. Thank you so much.